information provided by...
Puberty means personal space.
So sports clothes sit around growing odors. That's why we graduated to Tide Pod Sport.
Finally, something more powerful than the funk.
Tide Sport removes even week-old sweat odor. It's got to be Tide.
Tomorrow on E.T.
Drum roll, please.
What you never knew about your favorite holiday movies. Plus, throwbacks to the set of Home Alone and Elf.
Son of a nutcracker!
Tomorrow on E.T.
Happening now.
Where is the big man now, and how soon until he's over at your house? We have the latest from NORAD as they track Santa's progress.
The long-lost symbol of a World War II hero returned home. The family's reaction to having it back.
It's one of the busiest shopping days, if not the busiest shopping days of the year. We talked to shoppers and stores alike about the last day before Christmas.
It's horrible. It took me like 30 minutes to find a parking space.
If you're out for some last-minute groceries, you want to double-check your shopping cart. Trader Joe's announcing a recall. What you should look out for coming up. If you're a fast food fanatic or even just a casual diner, 12 on Your Side explains why you might want to stay away and stick to home cooking.
And we've been tracking Santa's route all day here in the Weather Center. And coming up on the news at 5, I'll show you where he is right now and what the weather is expected to be like for his arrival in San Antonio later tonight.
Move over, Rudolph. Have you ever heard of Ruby the reindeer? We'll tell you how a San Antonio girl became a published author.
The news at 5 starts right now.
Tonight, we hear for the first time from the son of a World War II Purple Heart recipient killed in action who learned that his father's long-lost medal had been found. Earlier this month, we told you about the search for Corporal John Cook's family by the owner of an auction house. 10 years ago, he discovered the Purple Heart in a box locked away in an abandoned storage unit in Austin. But he had no luck tracking down the family. The commander of the local chapter of the Military Order of the Purple Heart told a friend about the story who suggested Ancestry.com. Well, sure enough, an obituary led to his son, who looked very much like his father at that age.
Well, I thank them from the deepest part of my heart. They're really making my family a little bit more complete with this.
Was born only a few days after his father was killed just inside of the German border, leaving behind a young widow with a newborn. Jesse Degollado will have more about this amazing story coming up at 6.
The infant of the slain Austin mother is now reunited with her family. The mother, Heidi Broussard, was found dead a week after she vanished earlier this month. Yesterday, friends and family gathered to hold a vigil for Broussard. The father of Broussard's boyfriend spoke about how he considered her to be his daughter. He also says Broussard's baby is doing okay.
We appreciate all the love that everybody's showing, and I mean, we really do. It's wonderful to see people come together like this, and I know Heidi would love it also.
The suspect, Megan Fieramushka, was arrested on Friday. She's charged with 2 counts of kidnapping and 1 count of tampering with a corpse.
2 weeks after a string of convenience store robberies throughout the city, police have arrested a third suspect. 25-year-old Brian Gonzalez is now facing an aggravated robbery charge. Gonzalez picked up by Balcones Heights police. According to the arrest affidavit, he was caught in surveillance video at the Circle K in Balcones Heights on December 11th. Gonzalez and another suspect allegedly pointed guns at the clerk and got away with his cell phone, keys, and the cash from the drawer. Balcones Heights worked with San Antonio police in the investigation, and they were able to tie Gonzalez to the crime after he tried selling one of those stolen phones.
A mother's story of suffering a miscarriage leads to her arrest. Bexar County deputies arrested 36-year-old Victoria Ochoa last night. She's facing a charge of altering, destroying, or concealing a human corpse. This case began nearly 2 weeks ago when Ochoa showed up to the hospital hemorrhaging after what she says was a miscarriage. An arrest affidavit says Ochoa still had the umbilical cord and placenta attached to her. After testing, doctors called police when they noticed something was off. Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar says the baby would have been considered close to full term. Salazar says the question of what happened to the baby remains and more arrests could soon come.
Four San Antonio police officers now on administrative duty after a confrontation led to the shooting death of a 34-year-old man. The incident happening after a car theft and major crash on the south side. The suspect crashed a car on the corner of Theo Avenue and Florida Street. When police confronted him, he had a gun. Police Chief William McManus says that the man tried to switch hands with the gun, and that is when all four officers fired at him. The suspect hasn't been identified yet.
The bitter partisan fighting over President Trump's impeachment carries on despite the Christmas holiday. The president today slamming Democrats for threatening to delay his Senate trial. Here's ABC's Inés de la Curetara.
As he prepares to celebrate Christmas at Mar-a-Lago.
Hello, everyone, and I want to wish you an amazing Christmas and Happy New Year.
President Trump is still railing against his impeachment.
They had no evidence at all. They had no crime.
And lashing out at House Speaker Nancy Pelosi for possibly delaying his Senate trial.
She's doing a tremendous disservice to the country. She's not doing a good job. And some people think that she doesn't know what she's doing.
Pelosi saying she will not send articles of impeachment to the Senate, quote, until we know what sort of trial the Senate will conduct. Democrats want the Senate to subpoena internal White House documents and other records, as well as call 4 senior White House officials to testify at the trial. They were blocked from doing so during the House impeachment proceedings.
So we say to President Trump, if you are so confident you did nothing wrong, why won't you let your men testify?
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell now telling Fox News he's open to having new witnesses come forward eventually, but adding,
look, we're at an impasse. We can't do anything until the Speaker sends the papers over, so everybody enjoy the holidays.
President Trump today expressing full confidence in McConnell.
We have the majority, and now they want McConnell to do wonderful things for them. I mean, he's going to do what he wants to do. Very smart guy, very good guy, and a very fair guy.
Congress is now in recess for the holidays. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says he doesn't expect the two sides to reach an agreement on the format and structure of the trial until after lawmakers return to Washington on January 6th. Inés de la Curetara, ABC News, Washington.
Before you dig into your holiday meal, we have a food recall to tell you about. Trader Joe's egg salad and old-fashioned potato salad have been recalled due to possible listeria contamination. Now, the products have been removed from stores out of an abundance of caution, and customers who have already purchased it are advised to throw it away or return it to any Trader Joe's for a full refund. Symptoms of infection include high fever, severe headaches, stiffness, nausea, abdominal pain, and diarrhea, though no illnesses have been reported.
All right, taking a look outside with a live cam on this Christmas Eve. You can see there in the background a few high, thin clouds moving in. But overall this evening, this Christmas Eve evening, things will be clear and mostly cool. 68 degrees outside across San Antonio. And I want to thank our weather watchers for calling in on this Christmas Eve and filling us in on what's happening in their backyard. 73 in Warren's backyard in Del Rio. 69 in Schertz. Thank you, Jim. Miss Helen out in Seguin, 70 degrees there. 71 Universal City. 68 in Bulverde this afternoon. We've been tracking Santa all day, you guys. He is heading to Algeria right now, so he's over the continent of Africa. He has delivered over 3 billion presents already, and don't worry, because as Santa continues his trek around the globe, he gets closer to San Antonio later tonight. I'm going to have more Santa updates for you through the course of the evening. We'll talk more about your Christmas Day forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Devin.
All right, Katie, thank you. Even though Santa's busy, it is Christmas Eve and the malls and stores have been flooded with last-minute shoppers.
With just one sleep until Christmas and even less time to get everything bought, wrapped, and delivered, it is a hectic evening here in San Antonio.
Absolutely. Garrett Berger has been talking to shoppers all day. He's live at the Alamo Quarry Market right now. Garrett, what have you been seeing?
Well, right here at the Quarry Market, we're actually seeing pretty light traffic right now. You can see him going behind me. It's probably less busy than it is on your average weekend, though that may just be because we're getting later on in the day. Because earlier today, when we were over at Ingram Park Mall, that place was absolutely slammed. And of course, inside, there was a little bit of an air of anxiety as people were trying to get those last-minute presents and get the last gifts on their list and cross those names off. But the biggest headache really seemed to be the packed parking lot with just the sheer number of people descending on the mall. Inside, we didn't really see any chaos despite the number, but one store manager we talked to said people had been coming in with an idea of what they're looking for, so it may have been hectic, but it wasn't frantic. Now you can hear from him and some other people that we talked to coming up during our story at 6. In the meantime, with stores starting to close down, you got to be aware of those holiday hours. So if you still have shopping to do, maybe check out the list of stores we have on our website. Just go to ksat.com. Live at the Quarry Market, I'm Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News. Devin, Patty.
All right, nice hat there, Garrett. Well, a local 13-year-old student is now a published author.
Yeah, really impressive. She wrote the initial story when she was just 10 years old, and now with some help from her father, she published a Christmas children's book.
Yeah, Stephanie Serna met with the young author and has her story behind the Christmas story.
It was Christmas Eve morning at the North Pole. All the elves were happily making toys, all except one.
The children's Christmas book, Ruby the Reindeer, started as a class assignment, and author Sophia Rico was just 10 years old at the time.
I knew I wanted it to be about Christmas and about a girl elf, so that's pretty much how it started.
She asked my advice, which felt good as a father, and yeah, she said it was a Christmas story, and we talked about the one piece of advice I gave her was that there should be a villain. Yeah. And, she pretty much wrote the whole thing.
But after she turned in her assignment for school, Sophia wanted to do more with her story.
I've always wanted to write a book and have one published and get it illustrated and stuff, so I thought it would just be the perfect opportunity.
So from there, Sophia and her father Martin started adding more characters, and many versions later, they completed Ruby the Reindeer.
She would add ideas. She did a lot of the dialogue to make it sound really authentic. And I think that's why it really comes out as such a great story for kids, because it's really written by a kid.
The story of Ruby the Reindeer is also on YouTube. Martin and Sophia used pictures from the book and a narrator for the video. So far, the story has gotten about 20,000 views.
She's always been persistent, and we've been working on this for years. For a 10-year-old to start a 3-year project and see it through is amazing.
If you have an idea that you like, just keep working at it. Just keep going until it's perfect.
Stephanie Serna, KSAT 12 News.
Great advice there. All right, the entire Ruby the Reindeer video book will be published on YouTube tonight and on Christmas. You can find a link on our website, ksat.com.
Well, holiday-inspired window washers brought some Christmas joy to a children's hospital in Portland. They were dressed up as the Grinch, Santa Claus, and the Nutcracker. You can see kids watched from inside the building with joy. Some of them even got to high-five their favorite characters. Hospital officials say the Grinch was one of the most popular.
Right now on ksat.com, we have our collection of the best of 2019. For example, a story uploaded just hours ago features the 47 fishing records broken here in Texas. Other stories are the biggest stories out of San Antonio, top financial tips, and our KSAT Storytellers special, where, of course, we interviewed 15 of our stellar photographers to learn about the challenges and triumphs of putting a story together. Head over to ksat.com to read them all.
And if you're a fan of Rachel, Monica, Joey, Ross, Chandler, and Phoebe, then listen up. We'll tell you where you can find the gang all together again after they leave Netflix.
But next, a new study finds one more reason why eating in is the best way to stay healthy. The dangers you avoid when you cook at home, coming up.
This SA Salute holiday greeting is brought to you by Broadway Bank.
Hi, I'm Laura Vincelette with Broadway Bank. I'd like to send a special message out to my brother Derek Vincelette, who is currently serving the U.S. Air Force. Thank you for all that you do.
Well, there are a lot of good reasons to eat more fresh foods and home cooking. Now new research indicates there's one more. Scientists have found restaurant food and takeout may be serving up extra helpings of certain toxic chemicals. 12 on your side's Marilyn Moritz explains where the exposure comes from and what you can do about it.
Janet Wool sees a home-cooked meal as a chance to know exactly what her kids are eating.
I make them something that's fresh, organic, has no additives, colors, there's a vegetable, there's something green.
And now she has one more reason to cook at home. Now a new study finds that eating out and getting takeout may expose you to more of a group of toxic chemicals. They're called per- and polyfluoroalkyl substances, or PFAS.
PFAS are what's known as forever chemicals, and that's because they essentially never break down naturally. So once they're made, they just accumulate in the environment, they end up in our water supply, they end up in our food, and they end up in us.
At high levels of exposure, some PFAS have been linked to serious health problems, including an increased risk of cancer, obesity, high cholesterol, thyroid disease, and growth and learning delays in babies and children. PFAS are everywhere, including the surface of some nonstick pans and linings of some takeout containers and pizza boxes.
So we don't know how much of our individual exposure comes from food packaging exactly. But what this study did show is that people who cooked at home more had lower levels of PFAS in their blood than people that ate out more frequently.
To limit exposure, start with more fresh food. When you do eat takeout, simply unwrap the food as soon as you can and don't store or reheat the containers it came in. Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
All right. So, Friends is a popular show, and there's also a very popular Christmas special. It's the one where Friends leaves Netflix, though. So, yeah, everybody get ready. The classic comedy will no longer be available on the streaming platform come January 1st. The show, of course, follows Rachel, Monica, Joey, Ross, Chandler, and Phoebe as they navigate life in New York City. It aired from 1994 to 2005. However, good news, Friends will appear on the new streaming service HBO Max in 2020. For all you Friends fans out there.
We're friends, and I don't have to pay to see you every day.
That's true.
But not on HBO, on KSAT.
Yeah, exactly, for free.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Yeah, that show has been my background noise for years, so I don't know what's gonna happen.
You can get the HBO streaming app.
I know. Now everybody's gonna have 27
You know, there's these
streaming
things
apps.
called DVDs. Remember?
I have those.
Okay, there. Pop it in.
Not that young.
All right. Christmas Eve is beautiful, though. It's
It is
such a nice day outside.
It's so nice outside. I think this is going to be our last kind of nice day until we get past the coming weekend. Humidity will increase, cloud cover increasing, but Santa's a pro. Nothing stops him. He's going to get here just fine. Later on tonight, here's a look at your evening forecast if you've got any plans. Very comfortable. Temperatures falling from the low 60s into the upper 40s. Mostly clear skies, just a few high, thin clouds. You maybe saw a few of those out there on our live cam shot this afternoon. 68 at the airport in San Antonio, 67 in Divine, at 68 in Comfort, 65 up in Canyon Lake, and just a very warm but comfortable day across South Texas. 75 in Del Rio, 72 in Eagle Pass right now, also in the low 70s there in Carrizo Springs, southwest of San Antonio. A look at our dew points, measure the moisture in the air. Higher dew point numbers means it feels more muggy out there, and we've got a pretty big spread in these numbers from the teens up in Junction, mid to upper 30s here in San Antonio, 40s and 50s down closer to the coast. And as dew points continue to climb steadily this evening and overnight, as our air temperatures drop down this evening and overnight, we're going to see the potential for some fog to develop across South Texas. This is 7 a.m. Christmas Day, so we will start off your Christmas Day pretty gray with areas of fog. Fog will clear up as we head into the afternoon. It'll be another warm afternoon tomorrow, but late tomorrow evening, even by 10 p.m. on Christmas, we'll see this fog start to redevelop, and that'll be with us through early on Thursday. But your Christmas Day really not looking too bad at all. Foggy and gray start. Temperatures in the mid 40s, up to 62 at lunchtime with some clearing beginning. Mostly sunny for a few hours tomorrow afternoon. That'll help to put our high temperatures back into the low 70s. And then fog redeveloping a little bit earlier tomorrow as compared to today. I think even by 10 p.m. skies are becoming overcast once again, fog developing, and that'll take us into Thursday. A gray and kind of drizzly start to the day on Thursday. Tomorrow on Christmas, I expect all we'll really have to contend with in the morning is fog, not so much drizzle. We do have some weather changes coming. It's been really nice the past couple of days. Today, just absolutely gorgeous. Increasing clouds and humidity will take us into Friday and the upcoming weekend. Our next front arrives Saturday afternoon with a chance of rain. So that'll bring us a chance of showers Friday into Saturday, but things will be clearing out by Sunday. And here's what's going on. We've had a ridge of high pressure or upper level high pressure with us the past couple of days. That keeps things sunny and very nice. Unfortunately, that is moving off to the east and away from Texas, making room for this upper level low to swing across the Lone Star State. That's what's going to bring us an increase in humidity, increase in cloud cover, but also chances of rain as we get into Friday and then Saturday. Saturday is when our next frontal boundary rolls through South Texas. I promise you another check of where Santa is. We will be tracking him all evening long. He was over the continent of Africa. Looks like he's over the open ocean now. Won't be too long before he makes that trek across the Atlantic and gets over to North America. And I'll have more updates on Santa for you, not only on the news at 6, also the news at 9 and the night beat. So stay tuned for that. Christmas tomorrow, 45 in the morning, 71 in the afternoon after some fog. Into the weekend, things stay humid with chances of rain, but we'll clear out by Sunday, and start of next week looks nice once again.
Not a bad week. Thanks so much, Katie.
You're welcome.
Well, Greg, 'twas the night before Christmas, and the Spurs are on fire.
They are, and don't put them out because they like where they are right now. Hopefully they can continue this streak after the hottest shooting night of the season for the Spurs, and in fact, in the entire NBA. When we come back, how they destroyed Memphis, and now they're back home to celebrate Christmas. And J.J. Watt has returned to the Texans. This is an unbelievable story coming up. After being embarrassed by the LA Clippers at home on Saturday night, our San Antonio Spurs posted one of the biggest wins of the Greg Popovich era by shooting an NBA season best 67.4% against the Memphis Grizzlies, the best shooting night in the Greg Popovich era. And the Silver and Black started off strong. They never looked back. Bryn Forbes opened the offensive attack with 3 3-pointers in the first quarter alone, part of the Spurs season best 62.5% from three-point range. It also included 3 from LaMarcus Aldridge as well. LaMarcus was on a roll early, scoring 22 of his season-high 40 points in the first quarter. Alone, that had the Spurs leading by 19 in the first quarter, 46-31 to start the second. Right behind him, LaMarcus, was DeMar DeRozan, who scored 26, missing only one shot all night long while dishing out 10 assists. He's the first Spur to ever score at least 25 points, dish out 10 assists while shooting 90% from the floor. Spurs blow out the Grizzlies by 30, 145-115, the third most points delivered in the Greg Popovich era.
I mean, I love, playing on the block and, trying to get guys shots. That's just, who I've been my whole career. So I thought, guys got easy looks and, they knocked them down tonight. So I thought, our defense stayed, pretty solid for the, a third quarter and, just stay confident out there.
All right, next up, Dallas on Thursday.
Pro football coverage, powered by Davis Law Firm.
As the Dallas Cowboys pray for a Christmas miracle that would have them beating the Redskins on Sunday, the Eagles losing the Giants in New York, their frustration of not being able to close out the NFC East and not only win the division but make the playoffs is still very evident. Barring the Christmas miracle, Jason Garrett will be fired on Monday morning, especially after comments like this one from Tank Lawrence. A handful of Cowboy stars who signed big money all-season contract extensions, including Ezekiel Elliott, when combined are close to $200 million.
I mean, talent without a direction is nothing at all. It's all about, us making sure we don't lose sight of our direction and, bringing that talent all together. It's disappointing, to come up in here and, to have a great opportunity like this to take the division and fall short. No excuse.
And you won't see rising star linebacker Leighton Vander Esch on the field anymore this season. He'll have surgery to repair a bulging disc in his neck in January that he is injured in Week 7. Speaking of a Christmas miracle, J.J. Watt back at the practice field today for Houston, and the 3-time Defensive Player of the Year is hoping to suit up for the Texans playoff game now that they have clinched the AFC South. Watt tore his pectoral muscle in Week 8 after making a tackle on the Raiders running back Josh Jacobs and had surgery 2 days later. That was just 8 weeks ago. The normal recovery time is 3 to 4 months. And you'll hear from him tonight on the Night Beat about this.
You know what? That's probably payback for all the good stuff he does around the Christmas holidays.
We hope so.
Thank you, Greg.
All right, thanks, Greg. We'll be right back.
Oh, yeah, much more Santa tracking coming up on the news at 6, the news at 9, and the night beat. So get ready for that. More clouds, higher humidity, even chances of rain take us through Saturday. When our next front arrives, after that, things will clear back out again. But be ready for some fog Christmas morning.
Well, thanks for watching the news at 5.
World News is